Welcome to the GameChanger 00100 show. I'm your host, GameChanger. Okay, so this morning I see SheRaSeven and she's all over my feed. Like a bunch of people is covering what she covered and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I kind of just skipped through and, reviewed little bits and pieces of what's all the hype about. But it's nothing new, nothing the same. She's just trying to assure that modern women stay modern so she don't have to compete with younger women. That's what it boils down to. But we'll get into this. Now, let me just share this. One thing in particular really stood out to me, and I'm going to cover this now. So, fair use.
Black women are overweight or obese. Well, you know why? Because you can't afford a gym membership for them. And they would rather eat than be with a broke man. They would rather sit down and prepare a meal for their kids and their family and eat and get fat because y'all aren't worth being skinny for. What we gonna be looking good and snatched for? To go get some coffee? Oh, I got to go to the gym. I might get invited out to some coffee tomorrow. Let me go get my brows waxed so I can get this coffee. Ooh, girl, I can't. I'm fasting, girl. I'm going to Applebee's tomorrow. What do we have to be skinny for? Y'all ain't taking us nowhere where we got to fit into something to look extra good. Y'all ain't taking us to no fundraisers. We ain't going to no gala. Y'all ain't getting no private jets. Y'all ain't surprising us with plane tickets nowhere where we got to be snatched. Y'all trying to take us to Applebee's into your mama house.
I disagree.
Okay. So there's a lot there. First of all, let's start with the whole coffee thing. Do you see slim white women, tell me in the comment section, at Starbucks with their boyfriend or, with somebody that they're meeting with a male, with a man? Do you ever see that? See, this whole statement really puts the cart before the horse. It's this whole chicken and egg thing. It's a group of women saying, yes, I'm fat because a man can't find a gym, or I can't get a man that affords a gym membership, and I can't get a man that can afford a gym membership because I'm fat. You see the loop that they put themselves in? It's like, no, it's the man's fault. It's because it's his responsibility to have a gym membership paid for and ready for me before I meet the guy, before I get to know the guy, or, basically black men should just be paying blanket gym memberships to women that they're not with so that they don't get fat for the person that they're with. Doesn't make sense at all. But it's born from this knee-jerk reaction that a lot of B-dubs have. And that is to, if ever presented with a fault of their own that's uniquely theirs, i.e. high STD rate or high single motherhood rate, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If ever presented with something that is a cultural problem that they have, the first thing that they do, their go-to thing is to, okay, this is a black man thing. Somehow let me see if I can relate this to the failings of black men, because they automatically just switch into, oh, I'm so submissive and I follow. Where you go, I follow. All of a sudden, they were never independent and therefore accountable of their own actions. No, they are all dependent on a man that they don't have. And it's because they followed this leadership that they didn't follow that they're in the predicament that they're in. Listen, SheRaSeven is teaching this pseudo gold digging culture, and I could really break that down, and maybe I will in this video, but she teaches this pseudo gold digging culture. She does not teach ethnic or racial solidarity, meaning that if she's teaching gold digger culture to a group of women, and let's just say in this case black women, she's not telling them to be in solidarity with black men, meaning that they should be getting their snatched waist. I wonder where that term came from. That snatched waist. They should be getting that for any ethnicity of men, as long as his, income is sufficient. They should be working on that for any ethnicity of men, any and all. I mean, it only makes sense, right? But what the comment is saying and what the commenter is saying is that they're not doing that. So chicken and egg thing, and she represents that problem. Notice here, dusties aren't worth being skinny for. Okay. Maybe there's truth in that. But you're not teaching women to get with dusties. You're teaching women to seduce, I guess, high value men. And they're not capable of doing that because they're fat. So why not teach them to lose the weight and ignore the dusties in the world? Even if 100% of Black men are dusty, including the one that you married, apparently. But, even if 100% of Black men are dusty, then why not tell them to lose weight for the non-Black men? But once again, that's what's going on here. Now, reason why I did this, this PragerU woman, this woman right here, reason why I did this, as opposed to just going directly to the SheRaSeven TikTok and looking that up, is because she had something interesting to say that I wanted to respond to afterwards. So take a listen. This is something worth noting.
Agree with that. I think there are elements of being in a relationship where you push each other to be healthy and be at a fit weight and looking good. And maybe those conditions revolve around going to galas and nice restaurants, and women want to look good for certain events. Yes, that's very true. But shouldn't you also want to look good for yourself and be healthy for yourself? And at what point can you start blaming your partner for conditions that you've placed yourself in?
Okay, this chick is young, cute, but way off base, because these women aren't partnered. There's no partner to blame. Therefore, it's a race. They're just blaming a race. It's weird. Why would she think that there's a partner involved in this when, she just said Black men? Like, we're not your partner unless we're partnered with you. She's not blaming the partner. She's blaming the race for why the women in the race are fat. Oh, and also the gala thing. Listen, I mean, once again, it's cart before horse. Like, nobody's inviting you to the gala because you're fat, and you're fat because you don't have a gala to go to. If you can't get past this catch-22, then remain fat, by all means. And people will still have galas without you.
That is where the conversation goes for me. Of course, the conditions of your relationship can contribute to your health and where you are with your weight, but that is not the end all be all. And again, it just goes back to finances. He's taking me to Applebee's and out to coffee rather than to galas and dinners. And it's just reductive in my opinion. But if this is what women want, and she's sought out an audience of women who are surely looking for financial partners rather than real life partners, then I guess, target audience met, sprinkle, they can follow her and take the advice. I can get why she's so popular. Again, especially in the age of alpha male podcasters who are spinning sort of the inverse of this narrative and selling that to young men. Why not have a woman who does the same and gives it to other women and gives them tactics to sort of combat some of the ideas that are happening out there? Do I think it's a force for good? No, not necessarily. But I feel the same way about the male podcasters who do the same. I would love to have an in-depth conversation.
Okay. And this is where this is another place where this chick is really a little confused. It seems like both her and Shera has trouble with the dynamic of chicken and egg. take Kevin Samuels, for example, which a lot of women like this critique and say, you know, oh, he's teaching this alpha male thing. And, you know, he's the reason, like SheRaSeven is a response to him. No, simply put, no. SheRaSeven did not invent this mentality. First of all, SheRaSeven was out for like 10 years, but SheRaSeven didn't invent this mentality. The mentality already existed prior to Kevin Samuels. You see, you got to understand, Kevin Samuels is reactionary. So is Andrew Tate, Fresh and Fit, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Kevin Samuels had a show. He had a call-in show. He had a call-in show that was almost exclusively to women. And what did the women call in for? They all called in for the same thing, and that is how to get a high-value man. He's just answering the question of the sprinkle mindset women. How to get a high-value man. And simply put, he was just qualifying them for that. This mentality already existed. See, SheRaSeven is just telling women to do the thing that her audience already wants them to do. Or she's telling them to do the thing that the audience wants to do. She's given tactics of manipulation, granted. I don't really know the body of her work to know if any of these tactics is beneficial to men or if they're just manipulative. I mean, if she's saying things just like Kevin Samuels, like, listen, you have to meet these criteria that benefits men, like being fit, being feminine, being friendly, you know, in order to get the high value man. I really don't see much wrong with that. But from what I've seen, she tells tactics like, okay, you know, I want you to pretend to be helpless and then allow him to attempt to help you and, you know, appease his ego in his attempt to help. I think they said that here on this, if I'm not mistaken. Here, let me see if I can find out for you. Okay, found it.
Not dealing with manipulations and games. So maybe don't date a guy who makes you feel like you can't trust him enough to open up.
If you play dumb, play feminine. I can't do that. I don't know how to work this. They'll do everything for you. And they'll feel good about doing it because it makes them feel more masculine and intelligent, and they can impress you all at the same time. So don't be that independent. I don't need no man. I can do it myself. I know what I'm doing. You should do it this way instead. It's better type woman, because you're not going to get anything out of that. But resentment.
See, this is just game.
Okay. So apparently they're doing the whole fake damsel in distress thing so a man can feel valued by helping them with something trivial. Listen, I don't know about the rest of these guys. I really don't care. And it's really a method of mutual manipulation that she's suggesting. For example, a woman creates a problem and asks a man to solve it so she can gain access to that man, you know, or at least gain some type of deeper connection with that man. While at the same time, this man is helping her in order to gain deeper access to her, to either gain initial access to her, meaning like if he sees her changing a tire or something and he just meets her and he's like, okay, I'll help, you know, but this is his tactic to get in the pants. And the reason that she's, you know, on the side of the road in front of his house, you know, bent over, you know, in the DS position, like right in front of his door, is because she's interested in the man. So here you have two people that are interested in each other, and instead of for being adults about it, there's this whole manipulation. But he's not really happy that you don't have competence in this particular area, and you're not impressed by the fact that he does. So it's a mutual deception thing. I don't know what she thinks she's doing with these guys, but it's not what it seems, but it does give the women a sense of control. See, women like this are only happy when they feel like they are manipulating someone. In a straightforward situation, they aren't content. A man says, listen, I'm a man, and I am a man of means. I'm a high value man. I feel you're an attractive woman. Let's get together. And they're like, no, I have to actually manipulate you. I actually have to hustle you somehow in order to do this. Listen, sugar babies exist. They have existed for a very, 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 very long time. It's nothing new. It's nothing that she invented or something like that. This concept of being a sugar baby under the guise of anything else but being that is really, really flawed. Because the guys know what you are, and you know what you are, and you're just lying to each other, pretending like you don't know. But that's their attempt to feel like they're being deceived and being deceitful, excuse me. And I don't know, win or lose, that's their struggle. They pick their struggle, I guess. And this is what it is. All right, so back to what she was saying about the Kevin Samuels, the alpha men, the problem with the hyper macho alpha men. Listen, it's in response to this. Kevin Samuels is in response to modern women. Really, all of these, new, extraordinarily popular shows is in response to modern women. Modern women are like this. And the reason why these people are black or black adjacent, or at least someone who is visually perceived to be black, is because we're at ground zero. We as black men, we're at ground zero for this type of mentality that's spreading amongst all the races here in the US and generally in the West. But we're ground zero. It spread it with us first. You see, what SheRaSeven is talking about is 304. And here's what I mean by 304. When I say 304, I'm not talking about just a general blanket term for a promiscuous woman. I'm talking about actual street walking 304. I'm talking about actual pay for play street walking 304. See, just like the PIM, the last letter being P, just like that culture is ingrained. It is a part of what Black culture. If you close your eyes and you think of a PIM and then a P, you think of a Black man. You probably think of somebody like the 70s with the, with a perm and a hat and cane and, stuff like that. But nevertheless, that culture is part of Black culture. Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, meaning that Black men and boys are somehow affected by the existence of this culture. They want to be that or be something like that. By hook or crook, they want to be as close to that as possible. So many of them. It has influenced that. Now, by the inverse of that, 304s are also a part of Black culture. A lot of women want to be in some way, shape, or form a part of that. Maybe not being directly it, but being somehow adjacent to it. And this, unfortunately, what we've wound up with is that there is a lot of 304 adjacent Black women, and that is women who can't be hypergamous without knowing that they hustle. That's why words like trick exist, because they have to, and this is what SheRaSeven is actually given the women. They actually have to feel like they got over, that they are better than the person that they are going down on. You know, they're actually on their knees thinking that they're better than the person that they're kneeling to. It's very weird, but this is something that 304s, actual 304s, do to themselves. That's why they say, okay, this person is just a trick. This person is just, you know, he's just this, you know, but really he's a client to a service that you're providing. Nothing more, nothing less. So this mentality, once again, is prevalent in our community. So the counter mentality, which is something that a lot of, you know, what you call alpha male people, alpha male, you know, commentators, whatever you want to call them, are speaking, is really a reaction to what already exists and has existed for quite some time before even some of these guys were born, like Kevin Samuels, in our community. So she just got her whole chicken and egg thing mixed up. But let's play some more and see if there's anything else.
Way about the male podcasters who do the same. I would love to have an in-depth conversation with her about these ideas, because I imagine there's more nuance when you actually sit face to face and discuss the reasoning behind the content and this advice directed at women. Those are my thoughts. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you?
Okay. So let me stop this for a second. There isn't more nuance to it. And I think this woman knows it. This PragerU woman. I think that she knows that there isn't any more nuance to it. I think that she just wants her on the show so she can give her sales pitch. She's basically saying, listen, I don't want to disagree with you. I want you to sell this to an audience on your show, or excuse me, on my show. That's what it's all about. Whatever her sales pitch is she's going to basically just like, you know, okay, that seems sound because men are behaving this way, or, you know, men are behaving this way as a reaction to, excuse me, you're just reacting to the way that men are behaving. She's going to pretend to actually follow that excuse. But no, it's not like that. Now, one last thing about the whole SheRaSeven philosophy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The thing that men should prepare themselves for, and I don't have a problem with guys wanting to take advantage of this. If you're a high value guy and you and these women want to go around sprinkling, it's like, really? Okay. I don't have a problem with that. That definitely sounds like it would be in your best interest. But what it would come down to is that in this country, a woman can have access to your wealth without you having access to her. How is this done? This is done through methods like child support, you know, alimony, you know, spousal support, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So these cannot be long-term relationships that benefit the men. If you marry a sprinkle woman, then that marriage is doomed. Then she will just have access to your wealth eventually. I know her situation for whatever reason. Well, I think I know the reason, to be perfectly honest. I don't think that her husband makes as much as she is pretending that he makes. And if he does, I know that he most certainly did not make that through the duration of her relationship with him. So, yeah, I think that it's more along the lines of that. I think that it's not really. I think that that's what binds them, because there wouldn't be a huge payday if she were to leave him. You know, he's a guy with an above average income, but not rich. And she would just be getting a piece of an above average above average income guy's income, which is not enough for her to justify her lifestyle. Now, she might just do it from the money that she makes from being a content creator. That's a nuance to it, but she still didn't get it off of her sprinkle method. But a lot of women with actual high value men will just leave and take what they can get, take a portion of his value with them. And for a man to say, okay, I see your plan. You plan on coming into my life, telling me what I want to hear, giving me what I want to have, and eventually taking everything. It's like, okay, I see what you're doing, and I'm only going to let it go so far, which is why people like Kevin Samuels was not married, you know, at the time of his demise. And the same with people like what's Andrew Tate. You know, these fresh and fit guys. These are not married people. These are people who are visibly wealthy. And as women sprinkle their way, or attempt to sprinkle their way to that wealth, getting trinkets in the process, they just enjoy themselves. So unfortunately, you know, there is no long-term benefit in dealing with women like this. And the masculine outlets are just letting the guys know. Anyway, if you are not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button. And if you are feeling generous, make sure you hit that membership button. This is GameChanger 00100. Game over. Peace.